Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. I'm Danny Scott alongside Ryan Gregware. We have a very special guest, Greg Papa, the play-by-play announcer for the San Francisco 49ers. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. What an honor to be here with
Yeah.
all the list of alums, starting with the great Vin Scully.
Yeah.
I'm honored. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. So I know you do Niners now, but you've done pretty much everything. I mean, Warriors, Giants, A's, Raiders, Pacers. Which of the
Spurs.
Spurs, yeah.
I've been fired by every team in North America.
Which of those experiences has been your favorite?
Wow. And they're all so different. So I went to Syracuse University, and the Cuse is over here,
Yeah.
vibrant orange. I was hired at age 21, about your age, maybe a little bit younger than by the Indiana Pacers. So I went right in when I was done with my time at Syracuse, right into the NBA at age 21. And that was an amazing experience, the 2 years that I did the Pacer games. And then I had a chance to come out and do the Warrior games at age 23 and did their games for 11 years. And that was the Run TMC era of Warrior basketball. And Chris Mullen from St. John's and, Tim Hardaway and Mitch Richmond. And then I went to San Antonio and saw Tim Duncan's rookie year, and his second year won an NBA championship. Had a great relationship with Greg Popovich. Did a lot of national NBA at that time. And then as far as baseball, did the Oakland A's games when they were just putting together the Bash Brothers teams and the World Series. They from 88 to 92, they won the American League West 4 to 5 years, went to the World Series 3 straight years, and won in 89. That was memorable. Went to the San Francisco Giants for a few years and saw Bonds break a few records. And then that team with Bochy win World Series in 10, 12, and 14. Did the Warriors games on television later and saw Steph in that run again, which has been amazing. But as far as football, I did the Raider games for 21 years.
Yeah.
And as we're in our location here, and I'm looking at nothing but silver and black and the eye patch from the Raiders. And now my fourth year with the 49ers. So every scenario is different, every challenge in life and experience. So, I mean, I take a little bit, in my heart for all the situations I've been in, but more than anything, yeah, they're teams and they have colors and great histories, but the people you meet, whether it's a coach, a player, I mean, David Robinson's one of the finest human beings I've ever met in my life. He's just an incredible person. Al Davis, in my relationship with Al doing the Raider games, he was like a second father to me. So he and I were very close until the day he died. And so it's the connectivity. Greg Popovich was the guy that brought me to San Antonio from my time with the Warriors when he was with Don Nelson and his staff. So it's been an interesting career all these years later, but mainly it's moments in time. It's, championships, lost championships. The 49ers, we've had our heart broken 3 of the last 4 years in the Super Bowl. This is 2 straight years. I had to come here and do Radio Row like I'm happy. And the 49ers aren't with me, and we lost a championship game before. So a little bit of that, competitive nature, but really it's about people, meeting people like yourselves. I was the young guy seeking advice from older people coming up. I was hired at age 21, and I'm the youngest full-time play-by-play announcer in the history of American sport. Marv was 20 when he did some fill-in stuff with the Knicks and Marty Glickman. So as you guys, embark on your careers, you don't necessarily have to go to a small market. Maybe you can wind up whatever league you want to be in. So it's the connectivity of me seeking advice from Vin Scully, Chick Hearn, Marv Albert, people that touched me. My brother was a sportscaster in Philadelphia. And then for me to pay it back and try to help you guys find the right path. But just don't take my job. You know what? You can take my job. Just send the money.
Oh,
I think I need it.
I'll gladly take it.
But
Yeah.
beyond that, you can take the job.
Well, first off, again, we appreciate you coming on, but you've mentioned that, the 49ers were a game away from you being in a very different spot.
So I think if you had to do it over again, you'd call one timeout, talk to your guys upstairs, try to get the expedited review, which we keep reading about, but do they actually do it? So that play, right, if that play does not occur, it was a 4th down and 3 on the 35-yard line. If they don't hit that, the 49ers take the ball at that spot. Now, revisionist history, does Brock Purdy get hurt? Are you in the same situation? Now, Kyle does script plays.
Yeah.
So he may have called the very same play where Hassan Reddick came around Tyler Croft and hit Brock in the UCL, which caused the injury. He may have called something else, but it may have gone off the call sheet. So that may have occurred anyway. But then you get into that scenario where it's not just a moment in time and a 7-0 score and you get the ball back on your 35-0-0, but it may be Brock Purdy never gets hurt. And then I ask you, what happens in the game if the 49ers are playing a quarterback that's not the fugitive, the one-arm man, and the one arm that works is his left arm, and he's a right-handed guy. So it changed the whole game, that play. But, going into that game, I had great respect for the Philadelphia Eagles. And there were times on the Saturday before where I thought, this is going to be a hard game.
Yeah.
This is going to be a difficult game. And I had great respect for their ability. So what's hard is you felt like you never had a chance to compete in the game, which is what our players are royally pissed at. So here's my hope. I think if the Philadelphia Eagles win this Super Bowl, they're obviously going to have the Thursday night game to start 2023. We are going to play them next year at Lincoln Financial Field.
Seems like a no-brainer.
They've also got Dallas. They've got Buffalo on the schedule. Don't you think the NFL, if they win this Super Bowl, don't you think they send us back in the opener to play them on Thursday night in the rematch of the NFC title game? And this time we have a healthy quarterback. And I guarantee you, you're always looking for an off-season hook to motivate guys. There's no better motivation than, guys, here's your schedule. First game is FU Philly. Who's on board? Bosa will come flying through the wall. That's the way to get them to roll into next year. So for that reason, I think I'm rooting for Philadelphia to win.
Yeah. Well, talking about next year with Trey Lance, still don't know what he is. Brock Purdy hurt. Don't know what the deal with Jimmy is. It looks like he's gone. Aaron Rodgers is potentially available. Who knows with Tom Brady if he's actually retired?
You're throwing the whole game.
Yeah. How many more quarterbacks?
Who knows?
Well, they're both from Northern California.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Brady and Rodgers.
From Sarah, Tom Brady.
Yeah, right.
Who's the quarterback going into next year? Brock Purdy.
I mean, he's before the hit, Son Reddick, he clearly was going to be the guy. Now, Trey will have a legitimate chance to compete. That's the beautiful thing about football. I mean, I'm basing this on the Brock Purdy that beat the Dallas Cowboys and hit 6 third-down throws in the divisional. If it's that guy, then, and Trey's the guy he's been, but Trey could get a lot better. Look at how much better Jalen Hurts got in 1 year's time. Yeah. Did anybody think Jalen Hurts would do what he's doing this year based on the way he played last year?
Howie Roseman.
Well, did he know, though, for sure?
No, not for sure.
I don't think anybody knew. But he improved, and Trey went to the same 3D QB camp Tom House runs in Southern California. Jalen just got better. Trey's got work to do, so he'll have a chance to compete. But outside of those two, now, Brady retired, so you got to take him for his word. And he said he's going to take the whole year off, not going to broadcasting. He's got more important issues to rectify. For Aaron Rodgers, you have to trade to get Aaron Rodgers. 49ers don't have any draft picks.
That's true.
And then his salary is ridiculous. So Aaron Rodgers, if we're just playing in the park, yeah, I'm going to take him. But there's a salary cap in this league, and it's hard. So that's just probably, from a business standpoint, unrealistic. What's realistic is Brock getting healthy. And right now, in fact, Dan Minucci, a former Buffalo Bills quarterback, a friend of mine, had a Brock on a show today. Brock's from Arizona. Dan taught him as a ninth grader how to play quarterback way back then. They have a good relationship. So I think the plan is he's not going to have the surgery this week. It'll probably be next week. And then when they open up his elbow, and that's a harsh way to look at what they do, but it is a surgery. I mean, the imaging tells you what's wrong with the ulnar collateral ligament to some degree, but until you get in there, you don't really know. And then you leave it in the hand of the doctors. I think, his family will have a say. The 49ers will have a say. But if they don't have to do the Tommy John, and then they brace it after they repair it, then within 3 months he's throwing. So he'll be around the team in May for OTAs. He won't be able to let it rip fully, but they think he'll be back for training camp. If he does have to have the Tommy John, then you go to an Oscar call and you flip the play, and maybe the rehab's a little bit longer. The only known guy in the NFL's history, Jake Delhomme, had it done at the end of his career, 2007. I had him on my radio show last week, and he was very honest about it. His elbow was bad for years. And there was one specific little check down to a fullback where the UCL just blew. He knew he had to have it. Where Brock's never had any problem with that one hit. So Jake had to have the Tommy John. But he had his in the middle of the 2007 year, October 18th. so he could come back for next year. But he said within 4 months of that surgery, he was throwing a Nerf football. And within 6 months' time, and they didn't do the OTAs and the mini camps back then like they do now, but he was a fully functioning quarterback at that time. And then by the time the season started, they went 12-4 with him as a starting quarterback. And he said, the best part of my body right now, and now he's an older man, is his right arm, because it's almost like you're bionic again. So maybe when they get in the surgery and they, we've heard baseball stories where guys throw harder when they come back from Tommy John. If he does need the Tommy John, get the Tommy John. Maybe his arm will be even livelier coming back. The mechanics of throwing a football and the weight of the football versus baseball, completely different. So, but to answer your question in my typical long-winded way, I feel like I'm Vince Scully here doing a doubleheader myself. Brock Purdy will be the 49ers starting quarterback, but you always have the caveat that, things may not heal exactly on time. Jimmy will find a new home. And then let's keep out, for if the Colts release Matt Ryan. Kyle's got a relationship, obviously, going back to 2016 and their run to the Super Bowl. If you get him on the staff, with the combination of Trey and Brock and have an older guy like Matt Ryan mentor those guys, that may be something they're amenable to.
Now, I have to ask you about this. Us being Fordham guys, it had to come up. Nick Zakelj, not sure how familiar you are with him.
Love him.
6th round.
Love
pick.
him.
Yes. So I wanted to ask about him specifically, what you saw from this year, what people in that building are saying about the Fordhamer.
So in my spot on the plane, the two guys that are directly in front of me are Brock in the chair in front of me and Nick's on the other side. And the thing about Brock that's amazing is he sat in that seat during training camp when you're traveling 90 guys. And now he makes the team. He's on the 53. And now Trey gets hurt. Jimmy's the starter. He's the second quarterback. He's still in the row with Nick and Brock. I'm like, why didn't you move up? Because I haven't earned anything at all. I'm going to stay back here. So I love them both. Nick, do you realize the historian he is with baseball?
Yeah, I know. Barry Bonds guy.
We had him on just days after he was drafted. He's a smart young man. And he got into the whole Barry Bonds, greatest season in the history of baseball. So, and beyond that, he can play. He will get a chance to play. 49ers have some salary cap issues on the offensive line. Mike McGlinchey, the right tackle, is going to be up. Nick, I think he kind of projects to be all over the offensive line. I'm not sure exactly what his home will be, but they're very high on him. And look at Aaron Banks. He played 5 offensive snaps last year. Hardly got on the field.
Yeah.
Laken Tomlinson leaves, signs as a free agent with the New York Jets. They plug in Laken. He started every game. He plugged in Aaron Banks for Laken's spot. That could happen in Nick this year. I'm not sure he'll be a starter. We got Dan Brunskill, McKivitz could do it, but I know they're very high on him. And a Fordham guy, he's a smart young man. I was very impressed with him.
Yeah, well, real quick before we let you go, got to get your prediction on the game. I know you said you're rooting for the Eagles, but do you think the Eagles are winning it?
I think this is one of the most competitive Super Bowls, going into it. When you look at their 1-loss record, they both were 14-3 in the regular season, best record in each conference, won their 2 playoff games. They scored the exact same amount of points. I think Philadelphia's defense is better than Kansas City's, but I think the bottom line here is you got 2 quarterbacks that are somewhat, I would say Patrick Mahomes is legitimately injured. He's been playing at a bad ankle, and I know he made the 3rd and 4 run, but there are a lot of throws which just were not himself. You could see him not being able to drive the ball. I mean, he's got one of the whippiest arms, and you feel like, he could be suspended above the field and still make throws. But you throw from your core and your base, and there are times he just cannot execute throws. If Philadelphia, you can see it obviously as the game goes on, his ankle deteriorates. Philadelphia knows where that's going to be. If they could cause that to be a problem earlier in the game. So if they had a fully functioning Patrick Mahomes, I would take Kansas City. Now, on the other side of it, though, Mahomes is clearly playing injured to me. Hurts is playing compromised. He's not overtly, Mahomes is dragging the ankle and he's going back in the huddle and it's obvious he's limping and he's not making all the throws. He's still making a big 3rd and 4 run to the boundary. Where Hurts doesn't he's not like moaning and groaning, but you could tell by the way he's playing the position, he's not all there. And they kept telling us you'll see it more in the run game. I think it's more in his ability to throw the ball. He's smart and he's powerful, and he knows how to protect his body from a. Now, if they light him up on a big hit, that's different. They drive him in the ground, but he misses throws that he missed some. They're all human, but quite a few times in these playoffs, he's just flat out missed throws. They hit A.J. Brown on a go route, ran right by Charvarius Ward, should have hit him right away in the game, and he overthrew him. And you could just tell there's some throws, even when he came back the first game against the Giants, the second play of the game, the deep shot on the over route to Devontae Smith, he hit him, but it was behind him a little bit. I just see a different arm slot with Jalen Hurts where he's just not as free, and it's a little bit of, and the results are you got two quarterbacks for different reasons that aren't completely able to execute throws the way they have all year. Not when Thursday night at the Honors, they're going to finish 1-2 for MVP, I think. Mahomes will win. Hurts will be second. And then Hurts will probably win the offensive player of the year, maybe Justin Jefferson. But in any event, that to me makes it hard to pick. I think I would favor Philadelphia and their 9 deep pass rush, but 10 deep when you have Reddick. They have 9 linemen, but Reddick really is a part of their pass rush plan. They come at you in waves. And can they get to Mahomes early and get on that ankle? So I think I would favor Philadelphia. But for everything I told you earlier, and the 49ers lost to Kansas City in the Super Bowl, 3 years ago. And that was a heartbreaker because you had a 20-10 lead with 7 minutes and 13 seconds to play in the damn game. And they run on 3rd and 15, the 2-3 chip jet wasp play to Tyreek, and there they go. Now they boat race you. So we got a little bit of them. But Philadelphia is fresher. But for the reason I laid out, I just want to go back to Lincoln Financial Field. And whenever the game would be great. But how good would that be to have it be the season opener? And that's the motivator all year, guys. The way the way your season ended last year, we're going to flip that right away in the first game. Now, you're not going to win the Super Bowl. You're not going to win the NFC Championship game that night. So it's different, and you got to prove it. But I just think that would be a great motivator. If the Philadelphia wins the Super Bowl and the NFL schedules Niners and Eagles on Thursday night opener. So for that reason, I'm going to hope for Philly to win the game, and I'm going to pick for Philly to win the game.
Gotcha. Well, Greg Papa, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck to you guys.
Thanks. You.
Come take my job. Just send the money.
For Ryan Gregware, I'm Danny Scott. We'll be right back.